What's up, everybody?
Oh, yeah.
Welcome to the Tug of More.
This is just a conversation between this guy and that lady, two friends,
That's
about
right.
where we are and where we really want to be.
Yeah.
Because I want to be somewhere different than I'm at.
Always.
Not like a different job or anything.
No.
I just want to be at a different level of a human being.
You want to be in the
I want
more.
to ascend to my true self. No, that's not what we mean. We just mean get to the more that God has for us.
Yeah, we are right here in life. All of us are where we are, but there's more that we want to achieve, and that fight, that tension, that struggle in between where we are and where we want to be, that's the Tug of More.
That's the Tug of More, and the listeners, we call them the Tug Team.
That's
so
true.
We're glad that you are on the Tug of War rope with us, tugging into more. I got a new water bottle.
Okay, the Owala. Look, I have the Stanley.
Yeah.
Today I got the classic. It's just like gray and blue. It's like simple. Usually I got bright colors or something fun happening.
Yeah.
But you have told me that my Stanley sucks.
I did?
Compared to your new Owala.
Yeah, dude,
you told
the Owala.
me the Owala is the new where it's at.
I got to give a shout out to Cassandra because
Okay.
I had a meeting with her and she brought one of these in. And it's got a straw built in and then a thing you can take a swig.
You can guzzle.
You can guzzle. And so I was like, dude, this is it.
Yeah.
The Owala, I don't know about that because it reminds me of a song, Uchi Walla Walla.
I just think
Bang
of
Bang.
koala, like the bear.
Koala bear. So that's good. I like it.
Yeah, that's good.
For me trying to stay hydrated. You know the problem with staying hydrated though?
You have to pee all the time.
Dude, I'm telling
real.
you, I'm constantly in a meeting. Someone's crying. I got about to pray for them. I'm like, sorry. Hold your tears. I'm about to pee on myself.
I am too hydrated
I'm
for
just
this
kidding.
moment.
That hasn't happened, but I have had to run off many a times.
Now you know my pain and struggle of life.
Well, I had my blood work done back, and they told me I need to get some more hydration in me.
Again, this time, they said?
Yeah. But because, you know, your kidney numbers, your kidney processes,
Yeah.
it's not bad. Don't worry. Don't be sending me a bunch of letters or send flowers to my wife or nothing. I'm fine. I'm okay. They just said that you need
send
to,
flowers to your wife if you want to.
Yeah, I know. I'm not dead though. I'm saying
Yeah,
it's not like this
yeah.
is not a scary thing.
They just said you should hydrate more.
You should hydrate more.
Yeah.
Because you know you eat a bunch of protein and then don't drink enough water.
Yeah, it's a problem.
That's a problem. So
Yeah.
I'm doing my best to stay hydrated. I used to carry a bootleg Stanley
Yeah.
that Rachel bought like
Sam Stanley.
8-pack of them from Sam's.
Samsley.
Yeah, and I realized one thing. I carried it to the gym and I realized something.
What?
I'm the only man in the gym with a cup that has a straw. All the ladies are carrying Stanleys. Not this guy. I'm carrying the knockoff Stanley.
Yeah.
So I look like a broke woman.
Yeah, a broke woman.
So I don't know if this thing is any better. This might be the new chick drink and I don't even know about it.
Well, I mean, McKinley and Cassandra are the ones that have told me about it. And then you were the third.
Listen,
so maybe.
here's what I'm going to tell you. I'm confident enough in my masculinity
That's true.
that I can do feminine things.
Yeah.
I still have a pop socket on my phone.
This is true.
You ever seen
You're
a-
definitely the only man I know that has a pop socket. But
You know
look,
why? I'll beat all you up and I don't even care. I have a pop
But you
socket because
have
it's effective and efficient.
Yeah,
It's
but
practical.
it's all black, so like it's
Yeah.
still manly colors.
Yeah, what's up?
Yeah, that's true.
I got a knife in my pocket. Tease my pop socket.
That's
I saw a
funny.
new pop socket, but I don't know. It's like a magnet thing and it's all flippy.
Oh yeah.
But you know, just roll what you got.
Yeah, go with what you. I mean, they are helpful. It's just yeah.
Okay, what's happening? We've been doing some building updates. We just had we had a full weekend. If you are a More Church attendee, you probably slept real good on Monday.
We had an all-day training on Saturday with our
Called
key leaders.
The reset.
The reset.
In which I declared the new era has arrived.
I thought you were gonna say bankruptcy.
Not yet.
Not yet. No. Yes, a new era. It's here. We're in the full reset. So we had a full day on Saturday.
It was a
Then
blast.
Sunday, it was a ton of fun. Sunday morning, we had a great service. Incredible, oh man, it was so good. The atmosphere, everything, the reset, it made everything happen. It was incredible. Then Sunday night, we had our open house, which is our assimilation funnel. It's our way that we get people connected and they come and hang out. And man, it was a ton of fun.
So good. We straight stole that idea from another church.
That's right.
Stole it. Punched
All
them
of
in the
it.
eye. Robbed their house.
We didn't.
Took their
we
TV.
didn't punch them though. We hugged them because they were
We hugged
nice
them.
and they gave it to us.
Dude, telling you we stole it's the best thing.
Yeah,
So open house Sunday was good.
it was super great.
You know what else we did at the
What?
reset? And I'm just going to say it on here because not everybody was invited because it was kind of like a key leader, like high
You had
level
to be-
leader
yeah,
meeting.
yeah.
Here's what we talked about. We talked about bringing the energy on Sunday. That Sunday is the strategy.
That's right. Sunday is our strategy.
And people are the purpose.
Yep.
I'm going to talk about it here in a couple weeks. So we can talk about it right now if we
Well,
want
yeah.
to. But we talked about how we have to be intentional in the lobby.
That's right.
That while we're in the lobby, be intentional. Don't just talk to the same friend you've been talking to all the time. Meet a new person. We got so many first-time guests coming, it's banana pancakes.
That's right. It's been a minute since we had so many first-time guests coming, but then when we got our new building, I mean, that's inevitably what happens. People
Yes,
come,
Lord.
They check it out. We're in the same place every week. Like, we have, like, walls that are always up that we don't have to put up and build. And so, like, we've been having an influx of first-time guests, and we were like, hey, we need to take a moment to reset the culture and to remind everybody the whole reason why we're here. And it's for the people. The people are the purpose.
People are the purpose. So we got to be intentional in the lobby.
Yep.
And then we said we've got to bring momentum in the auditorium.
We got to bring the momentum.
We told the people, you got to fill from the front. Sit in the first 3 rows, sit in the center, raise your hands and shout. And they did it. And here's what I'm telling you. If you go to more church, you better get your butt out the back row. That's where the devil sits.
That's where the devil sits. Unless you got here and that was the last seat available, and then it's not where the devil sits. It's where you sit, and we love you.
Yeah.
We're so glad you're here and that you're sitting there.
Thank you for that PSA.
Yeah.
But if you get here early, man.
Yeah.
Sit on the front row.
Yeah.
Clap.
Cheers.
Shout. Say amen.
Come on, God's good.
You can say ouch. Say dang, preacher. I don't know what, but say something.
Yeah, and you know what?
And the people, they did it. This week, so much energy in the room.
We said, what was that from Hook, Peter Pan? They're like, Peter.
There you are, Peter.
It was like, oh, there we are. We've been like hiding or something. And there it was all the people of More Church. And it was so good. I was like, there's my church. I love it. It was so wonderful.
Sunday's the strategy.
Yeah, it is. What the junk are we doing if we're not showing up and giving our best on Sunday?
Like, come on. The church does a lot of good stuff.
That's true.
All churches do a lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
But really, in our North American culture, the most probable place that an unsaved person will wander into to try to find their relationship with God is going to be a Sunday morning.
Yeah.
They're going to come into a church on a Sunday morning. They're going to be hurt. They're going to be heavy. There's going to be something going on. And they're there to try to find Jesus.
Yeah.
And we need to be on point.
That's right.
We need to be focused. We can't be so focused on our, candle making class that we do and have a little devo about it every Thursday that we forget about Sunday.
Yeah. And so we did it. We talked about it.
Do ladies still do the?
it.
Do they still do the little things where they get together and they paint pictures in their Bibles?
Oh, the journaling? I don't know.
I think that's sacrilegious.
You think it's sacrilegious?
Be straight up painting over the words.
They don't paint over the.
They paint over them. I've seen pictures. Y'all be posting on Instagram.
Most of the people
painting over. You can't even read your Bible no more.
Most of the people get a study Bible with the lines and they paint in the corners.
Oh, okay.
But yeah.
Don't be so excited. Don't be so excited about your Bible painting. What happened?
Oh,
Julia,
she held up one it's literally, she posted it
Death
yesterday.
and life or the power of the tongue.
And it's written over top of the
Julia,
Bible.
you did it?
No, she didn't do it, but she shared
it.
She shared it on social media. Look, she's like, oh no, he's going to yell at me.
No, I'm not yelling at you. I thought she was saying, Pastor, be nice. You're being aggressive.
She's a little bit
life and death and power of the tongue. Here's what I'm saying. Don't be so excited about your Bible painting class that you aren't serving in kids on Sunday.
Come on.
Don't be so engaged in this other sub-department of Christianity that we're not raising our hands and shouting and clapping because God's good during worship.
It's really important.
That's all I'm saying.
And we told people, we said, you can hang out with each other all week long. But on Sundays, we're on mission. We got a mission. We got one goal, one purpose, and we're all on the same mission together. But that means I ain't going to talk to you as much.
Aaron's my best friend, and I talk to that dude barely at all on Sundays.
Yeah, we don't talk on Sunday that much.
Very little do I talk to them.
Right.
I already talked to them.
We got a mission to do. We got a job to do.
I just went yesterday to a store, and while I'm at the store, this guy comes up to me. I'm not going to say his real name. I almost did.
Yeah.
This guy comes up to me and says, "Hey, Pastor, how are you?" And I was like, "Good, man." I don't know who the junkie is.
Yeah, you never met him before.
I never met this cat before. He knows all about me. He asks about my Ford Ranger.
Oh, really?
Yeah. What's up? How's the Ford Ranger doing? You want to sell it? He's kind of,
Yeah.
And I was like, no.
Everybody wants to buy a Ford Ranger right now.
And he says, man, I love this new series, More Equals Less. I love it. Me and my wife love it. I said, that's awesome, dude. I'm so glad that you're connecting to a party. He says, yeah, my wife's Christian. I'm Muslim.
Yeah.
But out of respect for her, I attend on Sundays. I was like, that's awesome, man. I'm so glad that you're coming. And he said, yeah, I've still got a bunch of questions. I don't know. I don't know if I believe what you're saying.
Yeah.
But I like what you're doing. I like what you're saying. It's giving me a lot to think about. And man, I'm starting to be kind of, curious about Jesus. This is why we have church on Sundays.
Come on.
This guy's going to give his heart to Jesus.
Yeah.
This guy is going to go to heaven, the real heaven.
Right.
He's going to, because he's listening, he's curious, and he shows up to a group of people that love each other, and he's watching this.
And are actually kind to each other.
He's observing something that he hasn't seen before.
Yeah.
He's seeing something in me as a priest.
Right.
Right? That he hasn't seen. And so like this guy is why Sundays are important.
It's really good.
This guy's kids, think about the confusion potentially that his kids, they have 3 kids, that he's bringing them on Sundays and dropping them off in our more kids area.
Yep.
Those kids are getting Jesus dripped into their life. This is why Sunday matters.
It's a big deal.
And so if Sunday matters, it has to be our strategy.
Well, and the funny part is that's not the only story just this weekend that we heard like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even Sunday night, we heard another couple who he said, I'm not even sure if I believe in all this yet. I'm not even sure if I'm wanting to do all this yet, but I'm coming and I'm kind of interested. And so far, y'all haven't ticked me off too bad. Yeah. And like that story is being duplicated over and over again. It's not like one guy. And what we have to understand is we never know who that guy is.
Right.
We don't know when we walk in on Sunday who's hurting, who's searching, who's questioning, who really is like needs a moment with God. And so our mission, our purpose has to be that we're going in understanding that all of these people are our purpose, and helping them connect to this house and to a good God is the whole strategy behind it.
As Christians, our Sunday priority should not be, man, I got to get all my kids dressed, I got to get there on time, I got to get my cup of coffee and find the seat I like.
Right. It's really good.
If those are our like biggest focuses on Sunday,
we're missing it.
That is called selfish.
Yeah.
Self-centered.
Yeah.
Now I'm not coming at you. I love you. I'm just saying that like when you're in the building on a Sunday, whatever church you go to, be kingdom-minded.
Right.
Not self-minded.
No, we be on the mission that God really intended for us. And for being, we say we want to be the church, right? Not just attend to the church, but be the church.
Yeah.
But often we forget what that really looks like. And what that looks like is reaching out to the new and the maybe the lost, the disenfranchised, maybe the unchurched, maybe the de-churched who've been hurt in moments. And like, what a cool opportunity that God is giving us in these new people that are attending. What a cool thing that he's allowing us the opportunity. And so we better steward that well. Yeah. And so, man, what I love about our church is that all they needed was that little redirection. Yeah. And immediately they showed up and were like, yes, we are going to. Man, that front 3 rows were packed and people were full of energy. But man, it changed the dynamic in the room and it made such a huge difference. And so, one, if you're part of More Church leadership team, thank you.
Yeah, good job, guys.
Good job, y'all.
Nailed it.
So nailed it.
Nailed it.
And then even Sunday night, what I love is that our open house is, you and I have done many iterations of connection, assimilation.
All of them.
I hate the word assimilation because it just sounds so churchy and fancy, but it just means organizing and gathering and organizing.
Getting people into a flow.
Yeah, putting them into a funnel and a flow. And we've done many iterations of it. We had a Connect class back in the day. We had Party with the Pastor. We've had Backstage Pass where we brought people literally backstage when we were at our rental facility.
We did it. We took everybody to our North Campus at that time and we fed them lunch, and me and Whitney talked for an hour and a half and answered questions. We gave people t-shirts.
Yep.
We gave people car bumper stickers.
We've done all the things.
We gave people free tattoos on their butt that says More Church is awesome.
But you know what? Not really, but we should.
I will.
But you know what I loved about this Sunday night experience was that it wasn't just you and me leading the thing by ourselves.
No, we talk little.
Very minimal.
Yeah.
But our whole team, our family, our spouses, and then a bunch of volunteers are there, and the energy of who we are. It's the one time I'm like, oh, we actually showed people who we are in an hour and a half. Yeah. Not just feeding them a bunch of information about who we are.
Lecture.
But they
trust
actually
and brain dump.
Experience who we are. And it is so much fun. It was the best.
It was great.
It was really great.
So
also Brady gave us all words to say, like to slip into our what we were saying, whatever our script was.
She gave us odd words we had to try to work into a flow.
But in trying to give you a word because you are you, she kept coming up with other words like, well, no, maybe it should be this. Or maybe it should be this. And what you did was instead stored all those words and then said all the words. And I was like, there he is. That's the best. It was super fun.
But it made it fun.
It made it a ton of fun.
So if you're in the area and you call More Church home, Scoot up, scoot in this Sunday.
Yeah.
Sit on the front. Sing during worship if you can't. Clap. Say amen. Have a party in the lobby. All
Find
the things.
people.
Yeah.
Be purposeful about the people in the lobby and go seek them out and go say hello and go make a friend and go seat them by you in the third row.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah.
Dude, it's good. I was dropping bombs on Sunday, though.
That's true. You talked to us.
There were some bombs being dropped.
I was like, I didn't know if you were going to say words or if I was going to say words. No.
No.
You, what is it that we say? A lot of people say truth bombs, but we have like truth bricks around here.
Yeah, we're throwing
we throw some bricks. And, but it was so good because you talked about how we need to have, the audience of one, that everything we do, the Bible tells us that we are to work unto the Lord and not to man, unto man. And yet, if we're honest with ourselves, many of us, much of the time, are really working unto man. We're doing it for the crowd's approval or for the crowd's affirmation or for the promotion that comes from the crowd or from what we think we can get from the crowd, whatever it is. But man, it was such a great and challenging word to say, no, there's one audience and we're going to focus on what he thinks about us.
Yeah, we spent some time to illustrate what the audience of one looks like. You know, that's a kind of churchy, like if you grew up in the church in our like 90s era,
yeah,
you would hear audience of one all the time.
Yeah.
But I never really saw it illustrated in a way that showed me the wrong audience.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to spend our life performing for the wrong audience. And for me as a pastor, performance is a part of the gig.
Right. Yeah.
Lights, camera, action. I mean, right now, literally, we have gigantic lights.
4 lights, 3
on
cameras.
Me. And so it can just be hard to not be overly focused on what everybody else thinks and forget that like God's observing.
Right.
The Bible says that God's eyes search to and fro through the earth, those who he can trust.
Yeah. Right.
And like when you think of it like that like God's actually paying attention to stuff.
It's
and
crazy.
I'm so worried about what so-and-so thinks.
Well,
so I'm affecting my daily decisions for them.
It was funny because on Sunday while you're teaching, and then because we had this like reset moment, it was so apparent in the room that God was proud of us. And I said it to you. I was like, he's really proud of us. But the funny thing is, he's been being proud of us.
It's not good English, but it's good. It's good truth.
Theology truth.
He's been being
proud of us. We just maybe weren't paying attention to that fact. We maybe weren't giving enough weight to the fact that right now there's a group of people mad at us. Right now there's some bills that need to get paid.
A group?
Well, I'm just saying right now there's a situation we got to solve. Right now there's a staff transition happening that's stressing us out. Right now I might be concerned about what this group thinks or what this situation has or what these pastors think or whatever. But the truth of the matter is the whole time God's up in heaven sitting on his throne cheering us the junk on.
Yes.
So proud of us. And so why did I let myself get so stressed out? Why did I let myself get so discouraged? Because I was focused on the wrong audience. Because I wasn't focused on the fact that the God of the freaking universe knows my name, knows where we are, knows how many hairs are on my head that look all crazy when I wake up in the morning, but then also knows where he's placed us and the city he's placed us in and the people he's entrusted us to serve and all of these pieces. But instead, I'm just so stressed out about what so-and-so said or what these people think. And if I'm going to be able to make them happy, what the junk am I doing?
You opened like a whole thought bubble in my head that I don't even have full yet.
That's what this is for. We can talk it out.
Do you think that God has just been waiting for us to make him our audience?
I'm sure that is a vast, if
you're him, if you're God, don't you hope that we're just caring about him?
Well, yeah.
And until we are,
then what the junk are you doing?
Why bless?
Yeah, what the junk?
Why step us into more?
Well,
if I'm going to take God's more and use it to dazzle my earthly audience.
Well, that's true.
I don't even know if I can keep this. I don't even know if I can keep the podcast going. I really don't.
No, it's true.
You understand what you just said?
No, it's true.
What if all this junk
it's
just God up there waiting
for us to stop
for us to
about
really
it.
care about what he thinks beyond trying to be cool.
Well, I think it's important to say that I don't doubt that we've always been obedient.
My mind's being blown right now. Keep going.
You're so funny. I don't doubt that we've always been obedient. And I don't doubt that we've always been willing to go against the crowd. Like, we've been willing to go against it. Mm-hmm. It's just that we also focused on it.
There's also this background noise.
Yeah.
That just is shouting down the hall
because
at me.
So much about, yes, that is such a great illustration. Yeah. That so much of what we have done, and the reason why we faced so much human discord, is because we've always been. He's our audience. We're going to be obedient to him. We're going to listen to his voice first. We're going to do what he says. Screw all y'all.
Right.
However, in his goodness, in his kindness, I do believe that there's a piece of it that he's been waiting to say until you can silence that voice.
Yeah. And what you're saying is great, because I am an extremist. And so I explain things as if I have been doing it the worst, as if the only concern in my mind has been man's opinion.
I was just bringing clarity
to
the conversation.
No, thank you, because I've danced to my own drum forever.
Your whole life.
Right. We haven't given a crap. We literally did an episode, I don't know how many years ago.
Yeah, called Don't Give a Crap.
I don't give a crap. And that's been true. But it's this little still voice nagging back here that I think God needed us to just
shut the door on.
Shut the door on.
Shut the door on.
Keep out the devil. Shut the door. Keep the devil in the night. Light the candle. Everything's all right.
Julia's like, what song even is that?
When you guys sang it, did you do like Jamaican accent?
100%.
Listen.
Shut the door. Keep out the devil. We grew up in the same church, just in a different side of the world. It's so
I grew
weird.
up in Flint, Michigan. Wendy grew up in Oklahoma. But yet our churches sang this song in a Jamaican accent.
Why?
Light
the candle, everything's all right. We need to borrow Emerson's outfit from Jamaica in order to do that. We should make him do it on
That
a
is
Sunday.
offensive. Isn't that offensive?
Probably.
That churches all across.
Well, maybe.
What if we did that for a Chinese song?
No, that's
What if
not.
we picked a Chinese accent and our whole church? I'm not even going to do it because I'll get canceled. But churches all across America in the 90s.
Do you think
singing this in Jamaican?
Was it originally written by a Jamaican guy? Probably
Light
not.
the candle, everything's all right.
Yeah.
That's what my worship pastor would sing. He's the whitest dude. His name's Pastor Bill. He played a trombone. He's singing that song.
100%. Why did that happen? I don't know.
You know why? Cool Runnings.
Yes, that was one of the greatest movies
Cool
ever.
Runnings?
Yeah.
I'm going to get my picture
Feel
on
the
a
rhythm.
Wheaties box.
Feel the rhyme. What did they say?
I don't remember.
Something. It's bobsled time. Yeah, okay. What were we talking about?
I need to show Titus Cool Runnings.
That would be better than the Goonies that you showed him last night. Because I'm like, sloth freaked me out when I was like 18.
I showed Titus the Goonies. Well, Titus and Lillian. Lily was straight chilling. She was laughing at it. She's like,
Lily's like, oh, look at Sloth's face. Oh, I can make that face. You know, she's like, okay. She's the best. Oh, that's fun.
Cool Runnings.
Okay, what were we? Shut the door.
We're blowing our own minds.
Shut the door.
We're blowing our minds.
Because in his
we've got to
kindness,
shut
he
the door
knows
to our
the problem
past.
with the two
We're
of-
just fully talking. Interrupting. We don't interrupt. We just talk over each other and don't
because
stop.
I think here's why. He knows that we're always going to be obedient, and the bigger it
Golly.
gets, the more obedient we're going to be, and the more risky we're going to take risks for his kingdom, for the glory of God. And if we are still listening to the voices down the hall, it's just going to freaking crush us. It's going to crush us. We already got crushed.
It's so
by
good.
being obedient. We did.
This is not going to be a good podcast episode.
Yes, it is.
But I'm telling you, I'm finding freedom even right now.
Good.
It's so good.
No, every time we have a real conversation, it's always a better podcast than when we have a staged conversation. Because, bro, think about it. All that stuff that happened to us men and women in ministry is because we cared too much about the voice down the hall.
Right.
Instead of being like, screw y'all, this is what God told us to do. Here's how we're doing it. And we actually believe the way we do it is right. And that actually, if anybody would let us help them do it this way too, that the kingdom of God could be game changer, right?
Right.
But instead, we got caught up in the voices down the hall that don't know us, that said words that weren't kind or right. And so he knew, okay, for this season, then we have to just let this marinate until they can shut the door.
And so when those voices still are allowed, you're going to keep politicking.
Right. Or trying to clarify or trying to justify.
Hedge.
Yeah.
You know what politicking is? It's saying words that you don't really mean in hopes that somebody else likes you.
Right.
Or accepts you. Do you know what that's called? Manipulation.
Yeah. No, right.
And so there's still this piece of manipulation that stays in you when you're politicking, when you're trying to please a crowd that you don't even really care about.
Yeah.
So, tug team, what's the noise down the hall? What's the shouting down the hallway of yesterday in your mind? You're in a different room.
Yeah, I think that's the point of clarification
Okay,
that
go.
is so good, is that for you and I both, I mean, the last 8 years, for sure, but our whole lives, have been stepping into new room after new room after new room. In the last 8 years, we've been stepping into new rooms consistently. But when you're in that new room, the thing about you and I, we don't have a problem showing up in the new room.
Who is it? Charlotte Gamble?
Yeah, she has a really good message about like,
Charlotte Gamble New Room.
Yeah,
That's
go
all.
watch it. You should check it out. But you and I don't have a problem showing up in the new room ever.
Right.
Because we're just confident in who God's made us to be and in the fact that if we're in that room, he put us there.
Right.
So I'm going to show up fully myself. The problem is the voices from the rooms that we've left that now say you don't belong in that room.
They still got my number.
You who do you think you are showing up there?
You shouldn't have left this room.
Why'd you leave this room?
My room's better.
How dare you think that the room you were in is not the room that was good? Who do you think you are? All of these, we sometimes allow a voice from down the hall to interject into the new room that we're in. And it brings doubt, confusion, pain, heartache, all kinds of things.
Trepidation.
Trepidation to step into the more. And we've had to learn that, like, because I think that's the point, even for me, that I sat in the message and was like, I'm a wear a sweatshirt with my button up shirt. I don't care what you think. There's a lot about me that I don't care what you think. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't, I don't care all those things. Fashion, who I'm friends with, what these pieces. But there's whispers. Sometimes it's just whispers from down the hall that I'll allow in my head of like, oh, am I not doing it right? Oh, am I not being all that God's asked me to be? Oh, I thought I heard from God. I'm allowing doubt to come when the truth of the matter is I know that I know that I know. You and I know that we know that we know that the decisions we made over the last 4 years were from God.
Right.
But we've allowed voices from down the hall to make us question ourselves. Woulda, shoulda, couldas. And we can't do that.
It's so
we can't do that if we're going to keep going into everything he has.
There's a need in all of us for affirmation of man. And I think that for me, some of it, the reason that those, like when you're going on about how we don't care about what other people think, you're right. Period.
Right.
But I do have a hunger for affirmation.
Yeah.
And I think that being unhealthy, that unhealthy desire to be affirmed, makes those voices matter. Well, because like I don't care. I'm going to do what I want. But then after, when you don't like it, I'm going to be like, oh, ouch. I maybe I shouldn't have done that.
Well, it's deeper than stuff. It's deeper than surface stuff.
Right.
I think is the thing. A lot of people, they care. And so they are members at this club and they drive these cars and they live in this neighborhood. And like none of that crap have I ever cared about. But it's the deeper knowing who I am in my core, the being misunderstood at your core, that I think is the stuff that rattles us and shakes us, and especially in the world that we work in. Like, because if we were in like a Fortune 500 company where it's all just about the money, it wouldn't matter. Yeah, we're ruthless, so what? But like, no, here we're trying to be ruthless for the kingdom of God. So I want you to know my heart, and I think that's what's jacked me the most, that I had to really allow myself to evaluate on Sunday. Because at first I could be like, I'm not worried about what my mom says. I'm not worried about what my coworker says. I'm not worried about this, that, or the other. But to go, actually, I do deep care about, are you proud of me? That is a real phrase, I think, of the validation. You're saying affirmation, but I think it's more even validation. Validation. And you're doing a good job. Yeah. We all want to hear you're doing a good job without a caveat. Right. But you could do better if. You could do this. Yeah. So much stuff
It's blowing my mind. But I've got a couple thoughts I've had.
Okay, let's talk about it.
That I want us to be able to get to in the time that we have left. I find myself in the past performing for people that I consider my peers.
Yeah.
For people that are like in a comparable leadership position or doing what I do. And let me just come out and say it. I have found myself, I talked in the message about how I would find myself writing messages for the ears of other pastors and hope for promotion, and how that's dangerous.
Super dangerous.
And I'll talk to other pastors and I watch them do what they do. And the trouble with that is that you spend energy doing stuff that you think will get you an applause over here, but while to your detriment of where you currently are. Like, I can't tell how many guys are writing a book a year,
right?
But their church hasn't grown in a decade.
Right.
And it's like, man, maybe you're trying to seek applause somewhere other than what God's actually calling you to do.
It's good. You and I use a phrase that we stole from our mentor, Pastor John McKenzie, of sideways energy.
Oh, man.
And I think that has been the best. I mean, the minute he said it to us, it hit us both, convicted us both, and then has literally become a huge part of our vernacular because it's the best explanation
of what it is
for what this thing is. That maybe it's not that I'm really, again, I don't really always care what people think. However, there's this sideways energy for the validation, the approval of these peer groups or these peer people of thinking, that I'm worthy to be among them, to be among the peers of them, or honestly, that I'm better or I'm doing more than they are, or that the more I'm striving for is beyond where they're at right now. And like allowing myself to realize that doesn't freaking matter at all. In the grand scheme of life, if the only audience I'm actually after is God, then why am I giving all this sideways energy to these other people who probably aren't even watching or paying attention and are just worried about their own sideways energy? What in the junk are we wasting so much time for? And I think for you and I both, it was a good realization of like, if it's sideways energy, cut it out.
Yeah.
Because if it's sideways energy, then it's probably not focused on the audience of one.
Somebody give that lady a gold star on her red sweatshirt.
Validate me. Approve of me. I'm just kidding.
If it's sideways energy,
yeah,
it's probably not focused at the audience of one.
Yeah.
Is the thing.
No, it's so, I'm like, thank you, God, for that revelation.
Right.
Because you and I have felt guilty for cutting out some of the sideways energy.
Yes.
We've really wrestled it and grieved it.
Mm-hmm. Without the vernacular to understand that it's just me paying too much attention over here.
Yeah.
Over here is not the focus.
No.
What God's called us to, He's gifted us to, what the season that we're in is what our focus needs to be. There's been times in the past, I remember back when we were in a Matlock building, so it was a long time ago, where I would feel like I had a series idea to preach or something that the church needed. And I would spend all this time trying to sexy it up, or trying to make it stand out or look different, just so that my contemporaries, my peers, would see it and be impressed.
Yeah.
And like, I could have just called the series something real simple. I could have just done something real plain. And do you know what it would have done? Reached the city the exact same way.
Right.
Not one more person got saved, brought into the kingdom, because I put all this effort into do some big rollout, some roll-in video.
Yeah. Well,
but I'm making roll-in videos and I'm pushing everybody to do this stuff for what?
Yeah, and I think that even noticing, once like you're aware of it, then you notice little things. Mm-hmm. And even I think something in the church and in the communication world that it now rubs me wrong because I wonder if we're really doing it for the right reason. I'm all for people leaving the moment that they've encountered God, that the word has hit them, and having a sentence that they can take with them. But I wonder if some of our power statements that we work so hard to perfectly articulate, if they're actually just sideways energy and they don't actually translate to the people who need to hear it. Because often I hear these power statements and they're flashy, they have alliteration, they're kind of cool and punchy, but they don't actually really make a ton of sense to the point that they're trying to get across.
Some of them don't. Some of them,
I mean, some are good and some are great.
I mean,
but I'm like, how much time and energy have people spent in these moments trying to, instead of just, God, how would you have me communicate this to the people so that they can really retain it?
Right.
rather than how does my sentence sound flashy so it'll get likes on Instagram and clicks and screen grabs.
I think it's a question that we have to ask ourselves.
Yeah.
And so,
I'm not saying they're all wrong. You know that.
I speak in power statement.
Yeah,
so like you go back even on the tug of war, is that I many times speak it's how I communicate, how my brain functions. But I get what you're saying, that there are guys that they'll come up with a power statement that doesn't even really make a ton of sense or apply to what they're talking about, but it just gets a clap or an applause or something.
And we just have to ask ourselves, is my motive correct in what I'm doing and how I'm communicating in what I'm saying? And to your point, and is the sideways energy dragging away from the actual people, the actual goal, the actual purpose of what I'm called to do?
I got convicted of this idea. We took a trip. Our families took a trip, a ministry trip, and there were a number of other pastors and people that were there. And one of the guys on the trip was talking to me. He's kind of one of these flashy communicators. Was talking to me about how when he writes his sermon, he writes it but intentionally puts in 60 seconds of perfection that could then be cut and turned into an Instagram clip. And I went back through his feed and I started seeing these clips that his church was posting of him preaching. And then you would go and watch the message and it didn't correlate. It didn't tie in. But then I found myself trying to
do the same thing.
And do you know what it did? Sideways energy.
Yeah.
It distracted me from the big idea that I'm trying to get into the body of people because I want to do this thing that will get me liked. And but most people aren't pastors speaking on the stage.
Right.
But there's stuff that we're doing.
But that translates everywhere in our life.
And we have to admit where we're doing it.
We're going to soccer practice.
Yes.
But spending so much time seeing how our leggings match to our tops, to our shoes, to the handbag we're carrying, and not really paying attention to if our kid is equipped and ready to be at soccer practice.
Right.
Like, we're spending sideways energy in so many areas. That's just like a mom one. But in so many areas, we're going to meetings at work thinking how we can flex in the moment, answering one question from our boss, rather than actually contributing to the conversation at hand.
Yeah.
Because we're just trying to have this sideways energy to impress people who really probably aren't even paying attention.
So we talk a lot about self-awareness, right? And so the key is to be aware of when you're performing for an audience other than God. Mm-hmm. Years ago, we went to this is a long time ago.
Long time ago.
I'm about to tell the college Trustin story.
Yeah.
How long ago was that?
I mean,
7
or 8 years ago. Yeah.
7 or 8 years ago, me and Rachel and Aaron Witt, we went to this church event, not our church, at another church or a conference or something.
Yeah.
And I see a bunch of buddies that I went to college with there, and I just start talking to them. And when I'm done talking with them, Whitney is standing there and Rachel and Aaron are looking at me like, what was that?
Who's that guy?
And I'm like, what do you mean? Who's that? What? And they're like, you just turned into a totally different person around those guys.
Like, you're fun, you're energetic, you're always silly and whatever. But there was this whole other bro level that I was like, who we
started wrestling each other.
Yeah, it was very bizarre.
Yelling.
And you're not a sarcastic one-upper guy, and you became this sarcastic one-upper, and I'm like, what's happening?
So as we do, we just all talk real serious all the time. And so the four of us kind of huddled up in the lobby there, and they were like, and I was like, yeah, I guess that was college Trustin.
And I was literally like, well, we probably would not have been friends.
Yeah, they're like, well, I don't think we like college Trustin. Well, anyways, that moment is kind of trapped in my brain.
Yeah.
Of, okay, college Trustin is no longer who I am, and so don't act that way. And so there's this very real self-awareness in me now that when I feel that guy come out, that high performance guy start to come out, I get grossed out by him.
What?
Because it's not who I am.
No.
And so I intentionally
maturity tells you it's not who you ever were. And that's the part that I think so many people miss.
Yeah.
Is that we all become college whoever. Early 20 something. We all become this character in moments and in places where we're insecure, where we don't feel. I'm not even saying you were insecure in the moment. I don't know what you were. These
I'm
people that we
validation.
become around.
I want to be cool.
And
right.
it's like, but maturity is like, bro, that's not you. I'm pretty sure that never was you. But how many of us walk around and never recognize that that is not actually who we are, but that we are performing everywhere we are? And I think we meet people all the time that I'm like, what is with that guy? And we use phrases like, oh, they're fake, or oh, they're whatever. But it's just turning up or turning down to fit this mold of who we think people want us to be, rather than just being mature enough to be who we are.
It's
who God
an
created
exaggeration.
us to be.
An exaggeration louder, an exaggeration quieter of what we think is to be more accepted. And man, I would rather just break the knob and be who I am everywhere and stop performing.
Yeah.
So where do you go that you start, I'm asking them, but then where do you go that you feel yourself shift, turn into somebody that isn't who you are? And what are you going to do next time to not act that way?
I have two very like specific places in my life that I remember. The first one is like my kids' school, because my kids were born when I was still young. And so like, I always felt younger than all the other moms.
Well, you were younger than all the other moms.
I guess that's true. But because I was younger, I always felt like I must be more immature. And so I would become this quiet,
studious.
Yeah, very like, hello, how are you? Great to see you today. And the way I acted at those type of environments was not me at all.
Yeah.
But it was like I was afraid that I was too much for that room, because I just didn't feel comfortable in my own skin. Didn't feel, I don't know the right word for it. And like, sadly, really didn't figure that out until my kids were out of the elementary stage where moms actually show up to school. And by then it didn't matter. But like, and then the other one I remember is years ago when we first moved here and just trying to find friend groups and friend circles. There's really a couple of different places. I went to bunco groups.
She always says bunco.
I had a running group
I don't even know
friends.
what bunco is.
Bunco is like, I don't either. You roll dice and...
Whoa. Y'all the ones that crucified Jesus.
I was casting lots. Yeah, exactly. I don't know.
Did you get his purple garment?
No, I went to a bunco group. I joined like a running workout group of girls, and like, I just didn't...
They weren't your people.
They weren't my people, but I didn't really know. So I just became like them. And then I found myself feeling like, I don't talk like this. I don't talk about people like this. I don't care about these things that they care about. But because I'm in this circle, I guess I better...
And you know what I bet happened? Eventually, you started picking those characteristics
Absolutely.
up. You start acting like those that you're being influenced by. And that sideways energy becomes who you are.
Yeah. And then you have to maintain it. And then you have to work hard to keep. It's just so much work.
Yeah.
Rather than being myself. What?
No, it's so good, dude. It's so good. I'm so glad that we were able to preach that message.
Yeah, it was great. There was one more thing that you said before you wanted to talk about, though.
What?
And now I'm trying to remember what it was. But, I think just talking about the different types of audiences that are possible, because it's not just college group, and it's not just running groups and bunco groups, but sometimes it can be relationships really close to you that you care about, like your parents, like your siblings, like... You called out the ex thing for people, and man, the whole room was like, because we are performing for people who we shouldn't be performing for.
I heard a pastor tell a story once. I don't know where this was or where I heard it, but it's in the back of my memory somewhere, about how he had an ex-girlfriend that broke up with him. And so this pastor was really hurt by it. And, it was when he was young. And so he went and bought a new car and got a haircut and, whatever. And that on his way back to his apartment for like 3 years, he would drive past her house. And every time he drove past her house, he'd roll the windows down, turn the music up, and go real slow because he wanted her to see who he had become.
That he was doing good.
Well, after 3 years of driving by this lady's house every single day, he found out that she moved 3 years ago. And he had been putting on this front for somebody not even watching.
Not even there.
And I think about that. How often are we performing for our ex or performing for a mom or dad or somebody that they're not even paying attention?
It's ridiculous, but it's real. We do it.
I do it.
Yeah, we do it. And I mean, you called it out and said that, it's not that our parents' voices are bad, especially like if we have godly parents, like you and I have incredible people that raised us and helped us. Yes. Our families are like good people, but yet we can put so much pressure on ourselves for the weight of their voice or the weight of one word of them without recognizing, well, what did God say? Or without even taking their wisdom to God to see if that filter is how it filters out. And I think it's just, no matter who you are, you have to allow yourself a little bit of that balance, because even well-assuming people can give you wisdom. And if you put too much weight on that, it can jack up the decisions you make in your life. Yeah. It can jack up the purpose and the plan that you have for your life. Maybe you're performing for, a sibling that's not in competition with you, but you've become in competition with them.
Yeah.
What a silly way that we are allowing ourselves to live. And the truth is, it's not freedom.
Yeah.
It's the opposite of freedom. And I feel like God is just like, hey, if you just, I'm proud of you. Like that is really what I felt on Sunday. So much peace in the presence of God going, hey, I am proud of you, but I've been being proud of you.
Yes.
You just haven't heard me.
Yeah.
And so I think it's important.
You said that we make decisions based off of what they might think.
Yeah.
This Sunday, we had a guy come and visit the church who hadn't been in a long time. He used to attend.
Yeah.
And then he moved back to his home state in
Kansas, I think.
Kansas. And so he's now a golf instructor at some college there.
Yeah.
And so he brought his golf team to church because they're in town for a golf competition. And so here he is. I'm meeting him in the lobby. He's got 15 golfers. And they all look like it. They got the polo shirts and all the things on. And I almost went somewhere in the message, but the Lord stopped me because it was my thinking, but I think it's true. So I didn't want to say it in the room. But I see these young kids that go and pursue dreams, or maybe not even dreams. They go to this college or they go pursue this career just because mom or dad said, this is where you're going.
Yeah.
Well, your father went to this college and this is what we did. And then we start this giant trajectory of our life.
Yep.
And we move out of our hometown. We leave our community. I don't know. I think we just have to be careful because I know so many 20-somethings that graduate and then still have no direction.
Yeah.
But it was because they took their parents' direction for 4 years.
Yeah.
And they've made no progress.
No, it's really real. And sitting on the other side of that as a parent, learning how to let my kids out of the nest or whatever, it's very hard because well-meaning parents who love their kids, we want to have the best life for them, but we're not God. And learning how to trust, again, to your point, it's not that your parents are bad. It's not even that they're horrible. I can't believe my parents wanted me to go to this place. No, it's just they don't know what God is saying to you. Only you know. Yeah. And you've got to be willing to allow yourself to go, okay, whose voice, what audience am I performing? I think some of those questions are just, once you get that into your filter and vernacular, it can at least help bring some clarity that maybe was really foggy before. So many people I hear, especially those young people, I don't know what my purpose is. I don't know what's next. Oh, I don't know what the future holds. And the truth is, the still small voice of God, the next right step that he has, if you just can follow that and get some of those other voices out of your head, turn off the ones down the hall, it makes a huge difference.
So good. So where are you performing?
Yeah.
And what can you do to break the performance?
Yeah, it's good.
Sometimes you got to swing the pendulum the far other direction.
Yeah, it's really true.
I remember when we were at the Pig, our rental facility before we were here, online, we looked like a mega church.
Yeah, yeah.
Because the ceiling was so high, the room was so big. You get people sitting in the first 5 rows and they're all on camera. And it
looks freaking cool.
Like there's thousands in the room. And my flesh loved that. But I knew that the room wasn't full.
Yeah.
I knew that there were 1,200 seats and they were not all packed.
Right.
And so we were doing a series called Get Off the Throne. And I did an illustration during the series where I had Easton come out on stage with a camera. And I remember being nervous because I knew this is what I needed to do for me to start to find some freedom. I positioned myself so that the camera would show the audience and how not full the room was. And I remember I talked to you about it that morning.
Yeah.
I'm nervous about this. This is something I'm going to do. And I did it. And it was so good for me because you know what? It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So what do you need to do to break that sideways energy? I had to sell a car and drive a cheap one. I had to turn the camera onto the thing I had been pretending.
Yeah.
And show what it really was. Now the room had still had a great amount of people in it.
Right.
But it was not packed to the gills. What do you need to do? I had a guy that I used to work out with who he would show up to the gym every day matching. And he was really concerned with people's opinion all the time. And so for months I said, okay, tomorrow don't match. And he couldn't do it.
Yeah.
He couldn't do it. What do you need to do that breaks your performance? Maybe you need to not wear makeup somewhere.
Yeah, it's really good.
Maybe you need to just wear a plain white t-shirt for 7 days in a row.
Right.
What do you need to do?
Yeah, it's really good. I think just, again, extremes, but the vulnerability to jump to the other extreme, what it does is it breaks this thing that we all, I think a lot of us feel like, well, I'll get real once I get to, once I tug to this level, then I'll get real with
secure.
it. Then I can tell everybody what's real. But the freedom that comes from just breaking the mold and being like, hey, we don't know what the junk we're doing, or hey, I don't know what, it doesn't look like what I'm pretending like it looks like. It's really, really good. And what's funny is you find out that you're not the only one. When we're willing to stop performing is when we can actually make a difference to the people around us. If I had time, I'd come up with the right P word to say that flashy. But the truth is, if we'll stop performing, then we can actually help somebody else get their freedom. And I think that what you and I found in this weird way that we do church is that the more people, the more that we're vulnerable to tell the truth about what we faced and what we're walking through, the more people identify with it and are like, thank God. Thank God that you're willing to say that, because that's how I feel too.
Yeah.
But I just thought I was the only one. And the truth is, man, it is so refreshing now to just be able to be ourselves and to say, it don't matter.
And the only people I want to be connected to are people that are being themselves.
Yeah.
We got invited to a pastor's thing again, and they had a special room for pastors of churches over 1,000.
Oh yeah.
Did you go with us, or were you guys not even, you and Aaron not allowed in?
No, correct.
They wouldn't even let you guys in, so just me and Rachel went.
Yeah.
It was the grossest room I've ever went into.
Right.
Period. It was the grossest vibe. This room of these elite guys. Right. And it was I don't want to say something inappropriate. It was like a contest. It was just
flexing. Everybody's flexing.
And I'm like, I don't want to be around it.
Yeah.
I don't want to be around it, man.
Well, and then it makes the ones where you do find the place of vulnerability so much more refreshing.
Yes.
So you're so much more grateful for it. And the truth is, on the tug team, that's what we strive to be, is people who are real and honest and not performing, but it's human nature, that especially for those of us who are trying to reach all the more that God has for us. And so we have to fight our natural instinct. It's not like you're saying, and now I just do it perfect every time.
No.
It's a fight and a struggle, a tension to say, hey, God, I know where I'm at, and I know you've called me to more. I'm going to keep struggling or striving for it, but only with you as my audience, rather than all these other voices I was doing it for. It was great perspective.
It's good. Anything else?
I don't know. I think that's all.
What do you got? I see you got a Band-Aid on your foot. What happened?
Because I started wearing these shoes and they're not comfortable. And so I thought they would be cute and comfortable because, I don't know, because I like red.
You got Band-Aids on both the back of your feet.
Yeah.
That's just from today? You cut a hole in your foot?
I wore these on Sunday, these shoes. And then I made blisters on the one. And so then today when I wore them, this leg is a preemptive just in case.
This is things guys would never do.
No, it's true.
If I had a pair of shoes that wore a blister in my foot, I would never put them on again.
But if I never put the blister, or if I never put the Band-Aid on and wear them, they'll never be stretched out. Give me another 2 weeks and they'll be fine. Maybe. Yeah, Julia says, yeah. Yeah.
Julia agrees. I don't agree.
It's hard.
In my Air Force Ones.
Being a girl is hard.
Rachel got onto me. she's been telling me for a year I need a pair of brown shoes.
Like dress shoes?
I don't own any brown shoes.
Yeah.
No, brown anything. I need a pair of brown tennis shoes. I don't have any brown shoes. So she's been on me about it.
Well, the problem is it's about to be Easter, and then you don't need the brown shoes again for a whole nother year.
I bought an Easter shirt that I need to get up here to get you and Brady's approval.
Oh, you need our approval?
I bought a shirt.
What about God's approval? See what I did there? I'm just kidding. Gotcha.
See you next time.